5-Year Mission, the podcast, episode 19.
This episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast, is brought to you by Fansets, your home for all things pop culture pin related. Head over to fansets.com and see all that they have to offer. And also stay tuned at the end of the episode for a very special offer from us here at 5-Year Mission.
By now you figured out that this is the 5-Year Mission podcast.
Welcome to 5-Year Mission, the podcast. We have a very, very special episode this week. We did a little video blog thing a while ago that we released, and one of the segments had a catchy little tune that we like to call Fan Questions. So we decided to have people on Twitter and Facebook. I did not include Instagram since I noticed pretty much every single person that follows us on Instagram follows us on one of those platforms. So, meh. So we are going to do an episode of Fan Questions tonight, and all 5 of us, Mike Rittenhouse, Noah Butler, Chris Spurgeon, Patrick O'Connor, and myself, Andy Fark, are all here. That is weird.
A momentous occasion.
Oh, Patrick, you're rarely on here. How have you been?
I'm good. Hanging in there.
Yeah?
We had a little bit of a scare last week. As I told you, we thought that a friend of ours had gotten COVID, but she actually, a coworker of hers did, and her test came back negative. So, and we had just seen her, and so we thought we might have it, but we don't.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
So when I was growing up, I remember, and probably still, I'd be riding in the car with my dad, and he'd be listening to WIBC on AM radio.
Oh yeah.
And they'd have like callers calling in. That's what Patrick sounds like right now. Like vocal, like the quality. It sounds like an old AM radio call in. It's funny. I mean, it doesn't sound bad. It just that's what it reminds me of.
First time caller.
WIBC, Indianapolis.
Right. This is where the gold. This is the gold right here, guys.
Pure gold.
Platinum.
Gold press platinum.
The gems, the diamonds in the rough.
That one's for everyone who listens to this who actually lives in the Indianapolis area.
Yeah.
And is like 40 years old.
Yeah.
Fan questions. These are questions from the fans. Fan questions. These are questions from the fans.
So I'm going to be acting as moderator because all 5 people speaking at once is going to annoy the living crap out of me. So, we are going to start off with some questions from Twitter. Mr. Zachariah Schramm, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and if I'm not, it's a hilarious mistake. As a band, who are your musical inspirations? And Chris, we are going to start off with you.
Well, I feel like I've been asked this question a lot, and I always give the same answer. I'll see I'll see if I can mix it up a little bit. Well, I always.
Are you going to say Wilco first or David Byrne?
Well, I probably David Byrne, yeah. But just because, I don't know, David Byrne I'm in awe of David Byrne in general. Although, I read some interesting, I read an interesting article about, I can't remember his name, their drummer, the Talking Heads drummer, and Tina Weymouth, who was the bass player, and they created Tom Tom Club. Yeah. And the drummer was talking about how they didn't really get along with David Byrne and all this kind of thing. And Byrne got a lot of credit for writing a lot of the music, but a lot of it was contributed by those two. And you can really, I feel like you can kind of hear that in the, Talking Heads music versus what David Byrne does, his solo music. I mean, he was obviously the face of the band and the personality and the lyricist, but a lot of the music, that kind of funky vibe that you hear in the Talking Heads, I think a lot of that came from the band itself. So it's just, interesting, an interesting sidebar. Growing up, I had just weird musical influences, very adult contemporary. But as I got older, I started to discover new music, I guess, probably in the 90s, when the grunge started happening. And then but yeah, David Byrne, I discovered David Byrne, but Wilco is definitely in there. I just have a really broad taste in music, and so it's really hard to pinpoint a specific broad influence. But I will say that generally when I'm writing songs, I kind of get an idea of what I want something to sound like, and I listen to a lot of that kind of music to kind of give me ideas. Or if I don't have any ideas, I'll just I have Amazon Music and I'll just hit my sound, the soundtrack that they curate for you based on your listening preferences, and just kind of listen through and get ideas that way. So I have a lot of influences. It's just hard to nail them down.
On year 5, Chris, have you been listening to a lot of Milli Vanilli as a point of inspiration?
No, actually, you know what I've been listening a lot of is like Replacements and stuff like that lately.
That's good. That's much better than Milli Vanilli.
It is much better than Milli Vanilli. But I do have a great affinity towards alt country, so old 97s.
I knew you were going to say that.
And again, Wilco and Uncle Tupelo and that kind of thing. I always love that kind of stuff. And I generally tend to be the one in the band who will write something that's more country flavored than anybody else. And that's probably due to that very thing. So I think I've said enough.
All right, Patrick, can you just name off a few for us?
Sure. Well, when I was, getting into music and rock and roll in general, there really weren't a lot of just sort of loud rocking bands, except for there was like pop metal, and then there was like radio top 40 stuff, which was awful. And so I kind of started off going back to like the British Invasion, and then going into like 70s prog rock. But then when grunge hit, like he said, it really kind of crystallized it for me. So I got into a lot of those bands in the early to mid 90s and some late 80s shoegaze stuff. Obviously you guys know it, like They Might Be Giants. What else? I got into surf music in the later 90s. Dick Dale and the Ventures and things like that. And that really informed a lot of my guitar playing for the last, 20 years or so. So as far as playing style goes, that was a big thing. Yeah.
I was going to say with the surf stuff, you could definitely get that influence with your other band, the Madeira.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And Dick Dale was huge for us. And I was lucky to have gotten to meet the guy. He's an amazing dude.
Didn't you also interview him?
Yeah, I interviewed him. We had a 3-hour phone interview where he was basically getting ready to go to bed at night. And we got into things like, do you believe there are aliens among us? And what happens after you die? Like all kinds of really personal, weird questions. And I didn't put a lot of that in the actual print article, but it was interesting to talk to a living legend about random stuff like that.
All right, Mike, what do you got for us? What got you playing? What got you influenced?
I'm influenced by just about everything. I grew up listening to all different kinds of music, and very similar to everyone else here. I listened to a lot of 60s and 70s and 80s rock and pop, and and grunge in the 90s. Probably my biggest influences as far as songwriting would be the Beatles, NoFX, Smoking Popes. Those are probably like the biggest influences on my songwriting.
Noah, what about you?
The Beatles.
Noah loves the Beatles.
I love the Beatles.
I thought you'd never heard of them.
It changes.
The Beatles, never heard of them.
That Mick Jagger band.
He only likes Wings.
When I was a teenager, I had an uncle who was about 10 years older than me, and he was just feeding me lots of music that I never heard, and most of it was just sort of underground alternative 80s music. And that kind of brought me then into the 90s, where I kind of continued to seek out a lot of underground weird music. And that's shaped most of my musical taste and musical writing. I would say if I had to pick one band that's most influenced me in my songwriting in 5 Year Mission, it's probably been the band Superchunk. It's just, that's always been one of my favorites. I kind of sing like that guy. We're kind of small people built the same. And I just, and I just love I love the energy that they put out and the noise. I can't quite capture it myself, but it's, but definitely a big influence. And then, also if on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there's a lot of just like weird music that doesn't come out, I don't think, too much in my writing that I listen to, like the weird, like 80s
John Wayne.
Well, there's that. That came out in Mike's writing, and he hadn't even listened to that album.
Exactly.
Like the Church and the House Martins, just some kind of more cheesy alternative 80s stuff that is must creep out in some fashion in my writing, but I don't.
I definitely can hear Superchunk.
Thank you. I appreciate that
very much. See, mine, the whole reason I started playing drums, I've had the same answer for years and years and years. There's 3 reasons: Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, Keith Moon of The Who, and Animal from the Muppets. That's the entire reason I started playing.
It's good.
Yeah, and like,
it's good.
Because like growing up, I have a brother who's 7 years older than me, and so he kind of influenced my early musical taste. So I grew up listening to like a lot of Motley Crue and Megadeth and Metallica, things along those lines. And then like the weird way that I got into punk rock was because I got curious about the stickers that were on Kerry King of Slayer's guitar, and then found out that they were for like the Ramones and Dead Kennedys and Crass and stuff like that. So then it all went from there. And then high school came and I started getting into like stuff like FYP and Avail. And then like I still get influenced to this day, and I'll have like bands like Brainiac, which is like a fantastic band that has not been around, but there's a fantastic documentary that just got released to Amazon Prime called just called Brainiac. And it's amazing. They have all kinds of fans, from like Mark Hamill and like what's the guy that was in Portlandia? What's it? Fred Armisen?
Armisen.
He's in the documentary. Yeah. And like King Bozo of the Melvins, they were all in the documentary. It's fantastic. They said they sound like if Nine Inch Nails took like a bunch of speed. It's pretty fantastic.
What was that band that Fred was in? He was a drummer for a band. They came to Indianapolis in like the early 90s.
Jerkwater, I think it was.
Was it? I thought it was something. I thought it had a different name. Somebody's shouting it at the podcast right now. When this
I know. I'm trying to remember what band he was in. Oh yeah, Dave Grohl's in that documentary too, talking about Brainiac.
At 12 years old, I stumbled onto Rock and Roll High School on TV at like 2 a.m.
Oh, whoa!
And
that's a weird introduction, especially with mice exploding from rock and roll music.
That was my introduction to punk rock.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a pretty good introduction.
Yeah.
Plus, there's the whole Star Trek tie-in with Rock and Roll High School as well.
Yeah, with Clint Howard.
Clint Howard's in Rock and Roll High School.
Yep.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Noah.
Trenchmouth.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I knew it was a Chicago band, and Jerkwater is actually the band that Matt Skiba was in before he formed Alkaline Trio.
Okay.
That's why I was thinking Jerkwater, and just another Chicago band that didn't do a whole lot, but they were pretty well known.
And it's a 2-word band.
Yeah. I think Trenchmouth. I think Trenchmouth was all 1 word though.
Yes.
Here's a conversation you can edit out, Mike.
Most likely, yes.
All right. Next question is another one from Twitter from Jen T. Patrick, we'll start off with you with this one. What's something you're passionate about outside of music?
Oh gosh. Music is pretty all-consuming for me, but my family.
Ice cream.
Ice cream. My wife and my dog, who just turned a year old. Ice cream is a good one. Yeah, I've cut way back on ice cream to try to maintain, but I'm doing good. And Noah will get this one, but I've been collecting toys for a long time, and I've always been obsessed with like giant robot toys. So much so that a friend and I started the first ever Voltron convention last year. And we're holding it again this year at the Marriott East, if anybody wants to come in October. We are social distancing. We actually went to the venue and measured out 6 feet in every direction to make sure we could get up there.
Nice.
But yeah, so giant robots and anime and that kind of geeky stuff. And ice cream is a good one. Yeah, I'm glad you guys mentioned it.
Mike, what about you?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about it while Patrick was answering. Well, I mean, of course, Patrick's already kind of set a precedent. I have to mention my family, but outside of music, most people would think that my answer would be comic books, but I don't really like comic books that much.
It's just your store that you own.
I don't know, man. I guess I'm just kind of addicted to television, so I just watch TV all the time. That's pretty much my thing.
That's true. Yeah, I have this ongoing joke every time that I walk into Hero House Comics and I see Mike sitting staring at some show that he's watching on the TV. And I always try to guess, like, first of all, try to guess the season first before I even guess what show it is. I try to guess what season it is because it's rarely season 1. So I'm usually like season 4.
He's almost always right.
And then I try to pick some obscure network television show that nobody watched when it was on, but somehow it got 5 seasons, and Mike's in the 4th season of it.
Season 4, Boy Meets World.
Highwayman.
Highwayman.
I thought of one more thing to add to my list so that I'm not super lame and only watch TV.
Too late.
Also play a lot of board games.
Oh yeah, you do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it's got to suck with the quarantine going on because you haven't really been able to like get the people together inside Hero House to like have like big, long, drawn out games. Not
much. Some of us will play online. Like some of the games have apps that you can play. And a couple of times we've been really careful, but we've gotten together to play a couple things. But yeah, it's pretty much put a stop to most of the gaming that we do.
And Gen Con was just this last weekend and they had it virtually, but that's not the same. But I did, we have Ticket to Ride First Journey, which is like the kids version of it. And so I pulled that out and the kids played with me and Clara, we had to play open-handed and Clara, I just kind of helped her the whole time, but Simon caught on to it. It was a lot of fun.
All right, Noah, what do you got?
I'm a big action figure collector.
As we can see behind you right now.
Yeah, if anybody was actually watching this instead of listening to it, there's a bunch of He-Man, Masters of the Universe characters behind me.
I was gonna say Masters of the Universe. Come on.
Yeah, they're the big one. But I like a lot of old vintage toys from the '80s, and then there's just some modern stuff that I like too. But it's very much a borderline addicting habit that I have of it. So that's a big thing. I also like I really like being outdoors. I am a very outdoors camping person. I like to hike and climb in caves and swim in lakes and climb trees and do a bunch of outside kind of stuff. But people may not know that about me.
And now they do.
And now they do.
And
I like booze. I like to drink a lot of booze.
I like booze. It is true. There's here's a little fun fact. Noah almost constantly has a flask on him. It's like, so some people carry around like a Swiss Army knife to be prepared. Noah carries around a flask in case there's no booze around. He's like a 5'3" Saint Bernard that's been shaved and walks on his hind legs.
Notice
I didn't edit this part out.
No way.
Notice I didn't mention my family.
Yeah, screw your family.
I noticed that. How about you, Andy?
Something I'm passionate about. My family. Well, I have two kids, and they're like at the age where like you can hang out with them, and then they're like learning stuff on their own, and they can teach you things too, and they're actually able to like form jokes that are meant to be funny, and they're not just like accidentally saying funny things anymore. So it's pretty awesome. Like my daughter made like a really great joke while we were watching Little Shop of Horrors last night. So
We saw it on Facebook.
yeah, pretty stoked on that joke. But yeah, my girlfriend, we've been quarantined together, and we haven't killed each other, and we've only become closer. My two dogs, one of which is dumb, one of which is old. Every now and then I get this sudden bug up my butt to start painting again. So I paint every now and then, but I don't consider myself an artist. I consider myself a person that doodles on things with multiple colors. And outside of that, a lot of TV. We just finished Breaking Bad for the third time, and I just started watching Lost for the first time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
We're watching Lost also because Ashley's never seen it.
What season are you guys on right now?
We just finished the first season. First season. We're right at the beginning of the second.
Okay, you guys are about the same spot we are. I think we're like 4 episodes into season 2 right now.
So Andy, I don't know if you knew this, but Lost
Don't give me
only
any spoilers.
it only had 5 seasons. Don't let anybody tell you there were 6.
Oh,
Okay, so the end of season 5. That's it, man. There's no more.
Done.
That's in. It's done. That's how it is. And it was a pretty bold way to end it. So
It's wise.
just stick to that.
I will.
You won't be
I
sorry.
Probably will.
If you don't if you don't listen to me, you will be sorry.
You got an answer, Chris?
Sure.
Sure.
Family.
Uh-huh.
I haven't actually been able to in a while, but I do really like to act, and I've done several independent films and other small projects. We started to do a project before COVID hit, and we're just putting together a kind of a trailer for social funding. And I actually filmed a little bit of that this summer, just myself, just pieces that I'm in. But I love doing it. I love being on set, and I've been part of I've done crew work and stuff like that. It's just a lot of fun. I've gotten a lot out of it, made some good friends, and that's how I got to go to Comic-Con about, almost 10 years ago. And that was cool because I was part of the film festival and got to rub elbows with some highfalutins. So it was cool.
Yeah, because that's when you went, that's when we first put out the single from Miri, and you actually took copies of the CD singles with you to Comic-Con to hand out.
That's right. I forgot all about that. Yeah, that was pretty neat. I was giving that to everybody that I ran into. So that was fun. But I love that's definitely a passion for me.
Next.
Oh, okay. This is one we get pretty often, so let's pretty much consider this putting it into like the FAQ of 5-Year Mission. What's next? Songs about TNG, TOS movies? That's from Larry Brown on Facebook.
I think we can probably answer this as a unit, right?
We don't
Larry.
know.
Yeah.
Apparently we can't.
We're going to Disney World.
We've talked about different ideas.
Yeah.
One of which that I really like is doing the animated series as one album.
Yeah.
Right.
27 episodes?
That's what we've discussed the most.
Yeah,
So
that's probably the most likely
Probably
scenario.
yeah.
If we all live to make year 5.
Yeah.
It'll be about 10 years from now.
True.
We have 3 songs written for year 5. Or I don't know, Patrick, do you have any songs written for 5 yet?
I've got 3 of my 4 written.
Okay, so we just haven't heard them yet, right? Or have you sent them out?
No, we haven't heard them.
I haven't.
No,
I was waiting for Mike to send something out.
I have like
kept
half a
saying-
song.
I've said it. in at least one podcast, and I think it was during the Gays in Space event that we did, I kept saying that I was the only one that had written a song for year 5. And on
Like
the
a
last
jerk.
podcast, Mike corrected me, and then I remembered that I had her Tholian Web and the other one that you did.
Well, I
They
sent
were
out
like from last year.
I sent out 2 demos, but one I'm retracting.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah, I'm retracting one of them.
if you listen to our podcast, you'd know that we talked about that.
Okay.
Yeah, Noah.
Yeah, Noah.
You guys have a podcast?
No,
You're one of those guys that has the podcast, Noah.
he's a special guest.
We should do like a frequently asked questions version of the podcast.
I think that's what this is.
Next question.
Oh my God. Noah. This Mike, why don't you start us off? Larry Brown also wants to know why a fan band, and he adds, certainly there are better ways to focus your time and musical talents. God, Larry.
Whoa!
Wow.
Ouch!
Okay,
Jeez.
so I do have an answer for this, and it's not about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Thank goodness. We have answered that multiple times.
So basically, I was in several bands, like normal bands, as Larry would call them.
Which we all have
the
been.
quotes. Mike did quote fingers. They can't see you, Mike.
I know.
That's right.
It was implied.
But yeah, I was in several of those bands, a lot of them with the same people, just different band names or whatever. But you get like 4 people to your show, maybe 8 people if you're lucky. You make $10, and it's fun. You're playing music or whatever. But really, like after a while, I just got bored with doing the same old thing and playing with musicians that are kind of into the same stuff as me, but everybody doesn't get along or whatever. So I decided to make a band about something else I was passionate about, which is television. And I thought that I would, combine the two, and I would write songs about a TV show that I really liked. And, that turned out to be Star Trek, because at the time I was pretty obsessed with watching all of Star Trek and reading about it and learning about it. And so I decided to assemble the band of my friends, with the exception of Fark.
Yeah,
And,
screw me.
and just I would invite my friends that were interested in the same thing, like good, musicians who are also songwriters who like science fiction, and and it seems to have worked out. And this band has like 1,000 times more fans than any of the previous bands I was in. So I feel like that we've done something right.
Well, I think it's important to point out too that 10 years ago, we did not expect to still be sitting here doing this.
No.
10 years later.
No.
It was kind of a lark. We just kind of thought, oh, we'll just, write a few songs and it'll be fun. And then it just snowballed. And so I think that the longevity was just us getting caught up in it. Not so much that we were thinking, hey, let's be in this genre band for, 10 years, but
A decade.
yeah, but let's do this fun thing. And it just kept happening, and we enjoy it. And so we just kept doing it. So I think it's not just, there are better ways to focus musical talent, but we are focusing it in a way that we really enjoy. So I think that's what's kept it going.
And it's unique. It's not like all the other bands that you see struggling. I think the 2 craziest things about this band now is that we have fans worldwide, and there are people who have formed bands now because they were inspired by us.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So
also
weird.
been a big paradigm shift over the last couple of decades. Like, I used to write songs about aliens or a TV show, et cetera, in like the late 90s, but you would always have to kind of disguise it a little bit because it was uncool to do. Like, it was cool because it was the thing you cared about to write about, but like people didn't consider it to be cool. And now there's been this paradigm shift where the more fandom stuff, the cooler it is. You know what I mean? It's just like a really strange thing. When I was playing in Destination Earth like 20 years ago, it was a novel thing, but everybody just assumed, oh, if you wear a costume, you must not be any good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now it's kind of, now people can get into it and have fun with it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, and as some people know, when Mike had originally pitched this idea to me, we were really thinking that like we were going to sort of, like Patrick said, disguise the songs a little bit. Like, you know, only people who like really knew these episodes would even know that these songs were about episodes, and like the name of the episode would not necessarily be the name of the song, and it was just kind of going to be this kind of hidden thing that only we would know it's about Star Trek, or people who really knew Star Trek would know it was.
And then Patrick wrote Miri.
And then Patrick wrote Miri.
The hell's that guy talking about?
Nobody told me that's what we were doing.
Well, I mean, I wrote The Naked
definitely
Time, so.
about Miri.
Yeah, Patrick showed us it's definitely not Kafka. It's just
We're making references that nobody gets.
True.
It's our podcast. We do what we want.
All right, guys, strap in for these. Okay, you ready?
Uh-huh.
Uh-oh.
Neil Carpenter asks.
Who?
This guy, I don't know. He's British. I never understand a word he says.
Try riding within a car with him, with just him talking nonstop for 2 hours.
Neil Carpenter asks, what was your biggest personal positive to come out of quarantine so far? Noah, what do you got?
Oh, God.
Getting work done in your cabin?
Yeah, I got a lot of work done. I just thought like I had work that needed to be done that I thought I could put off for like next year. And then I just thought, nope, I will never have this much time again. Now is the time. And so I worked my butt off. So that's good because a lot of things got accomplished.
Who's next? Oh, Andy, you're next.
Biggest personal positive. I wound up getting from my job back in March, like really early on in quarantining. But then just like a week ago, 2 weeks now, I got the exact same job back.
Yay!
So it worked out wonderfully. Yeah, it worked out wonderfully that one of the higher ups that worked there, she'd already been doing like continuing education. She was going into some other part of the medical field, and she ended up getting another job after she got her degree. So then they were like, "Who's next in seniority and knows their stuff? Fart, come on back." So yeah, back basically as soon as the whole like unemployment extra stipend was running out too. So that was a super giant, huge positive.
That's really great. That's really good.
Yeah. Chris, what about you?
Well, I would have to say one of the most difficult things for me in general is to figure out time to take care of myself and stay in shape, work out, that kind of thing. And 104 days ago, I started my workout routine, and I have since maintained 6 days a week for all 104 days.
Nice.
I do P90X3.
Wow.
And I completed the first 90 days 2 weeks ago. And that's something that's really difficult for me. But since I'm working from home, I can get up and, knock out 30 minutes of a workout and still have plenty of time to get myself settled in for work and start working. And it's just been great. I feel better. I have chronic back pain, which is diminished significantly since I've been working out. So it's been a huge positive, I would say.
Cool.
Good for you, man.
Uh-oh.
Look at these guns.
Woo!
Woo!
Locked and loaded.
My eyes. I think Patrick was next.
Oh, well, kind of along the same lines as what Chris was saying. I haven't been working out, but I have been dieting and exercising and, just, walking, running a little bit. But I have lost almost 35 pounds since the beginning of quarantine. So
hey,
right.
great, man.
I'm happy about that.
Congratulations.
But
That's right.
Yeah, well, Chris kind of stole my thunder, so I'm going to say the new project I've been working on with Savannah, my wife, to a new musical project that we've been working on. We've actually recorded a full album and a few extra tracks. And it's music that I've had sitting around, some of it, and some of it's new. But it's really personal stuff compared to what I normally do. And so it's been really fun to bring that to life.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. I would
resounding maybe.
Are we going to get to hear it?
Sure. You want to play some right now? It'll sound like it's something on WIBC.
It could sound like AM radio.
They have a video you can watch, Noah.
That's true. Yeah. Resoundingmaybes.com.
Resounding Maybes. Okay.
Yep.
I think I'm the only one left to answer.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
The personal positive, right?
Yeah.
Quarantine actually, unlike most people, has been pretty decent for me. My business didn't suffer. My girlfriend's, job didn't suffer. Everything seems to be okay for us. So, that's definitely a positive thing. Like a weird, really like personal goal of mine, like a lifelong goal that I've achieved during quarantine, which is no surprise to people who know me well, is that I finally learned all of Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love.
Oh, I know it.
I know you know it. And I spent every day during the second half of March and pretty much all of April just playing it over and over and learning every song until my fingers blistered. And now I can pretty much play the whole thing beginning to end.
Played it till your fingers bled?
Yeah.
Was the summer of 69?
It was the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
It was the summer of 2020.
So that's my personal positive, something that I made good out of the quarantine.
And I also learned all of Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love.
Yeah. When we practiced the other night, I was really surprised at how good that sounded.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody really wants to make like Mike's life complete, you can get him the Too Fast for Love on vinyl on the original Leather Records.
Yes.
Record label on their original label.
That would make me very happy. You can mail it to 1112 Prospect Street, Indianapolis,
Indiana.
46203.
Care of Hero House Comics.
Next question.
Neil Carpenter asks, who is the last captain left at the table in a Starfleet drinking contest? I'm going to go with a more recent captain. I'm going to go with Captain Philippa Giorgio, because especially Emperor Giorgio, because she seems like she's done some things.
I don't know, man. I think I'm going to have to go with Janeway.
Janeway, really?
Yeah. I think she could drink all the dudes under the table. She went toe to toe with the Borg, man.
Patrick, what about you?
I think Giorgio is a good choice, but I'm a teetotaler, so I don't know about these things.
We've seen you drink once.
Jello shots don't count.
That time at Concave.
Mike, what about who wins, Mike? At all the captains?
I think I'm going to go with Jeffrey Hunter Pike.
Oh, man.
What?
Upon what basis?
I was
explain yourself.
Because he looks like a tough badass, man. I mean, look at him. He looks like one of those guys from the 50s that could just drink nonstop.
With
That's
those piercing
point.
Blue eyes.
That is a valid point.
All right.
They drank differently in the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just wanted to go with a dark horse.
No.
Yeah. Would it be different, Mike? Noah, who wins? You're the resident expert drinker.
I'm not really a big fan of the Beatles, so it's a hard question to actually answer because I just don't really care. But I think I agree. I can't commit. I'm gonna flake out on this one. I agree with Andy. I think Andy has a really good choice, and I think Mike has a really good choice for both of the reasons. So
stop sucking up to both of us.
Either one, man. Either one of you
Quit playing
guys,
both
man.
sides.
I mean, maybe Mike. Maybe I go with Mike a little bit, but well, no, maybe Andy. I don't know.
Out of left field, I do think that
Probably Mike.
Cisco, maybe only because I feel like Cisco could get really drunk and you wouldn't be able to tell whether he was really drunk or just being weird.
That's true.
Like being just like, the emissary.
Yep, that's true.
I'm an alien. I can't get drunk. I only drink whiskey for the taste.
Cisco, but just he's out there a little bit.
A little bit.
Next question.
Let's see here. Let me pick one. Neil Carpenter asks.
Who?
Well, 4 of us will be able to answer this. Patrick can chime in if he likes. What is the most important value you want to teach your kids? Because 4 out of 5.
Come on, Neil. Jeez, Louise, man.
4 out of 5 of us are human fathers. All 5 of us are fur dads.
Respect each other's differences.
There we go. Good one,
See?
Patrick.
The non-dad has a good answer.
There you go.
That's the first to chime in.
Yeah.
Chris, what about you?
I think it would kind of be along the lines of what Patrick said, but I would distill it down to just empathy.
Oh, yeah.
Kindness and empathy, and that kind of understanding, so you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That's what
Mike.
I said, but with more words.
Yeah, right.
Mike, what about you?
Basically the same thing, really. The golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm scared to ask. Noah?
No. In all seriousness, I would, the one thing I kind of want to get across is that life is basically shit. And there's not really a point to much of anything. So if it just doesn't really matter. Like if you can get yourself up out of bed in the morning and walk out the door, good for you. Otherwise, that's my biggest hope is that she can get out of bed in the morning. When
this is like a Patreon video.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Patreon videos.
Good to have hopes and dreams, Noah.
Noah's our nihilist.
There you go.
But with mine, I've been teaching my kids from the beginning, basically along the lines of empathy. Just don't be an asshole. Care about fellow people. And my biggest one that I've been able to instill in them since they're both a little older now, learn how to spot bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically, be the person you want everybody else to be to you. That's basically all there is to it.
So we're in agreement, except for Noah.
Except for Noah. Noah basically just wants a semi-non-depressed child growing up in this world of ours.
So who's the next question asker, Andy?
Let's see. Next question is from Neil Carpenter.
I've had enough of this guy.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Long-time listener, 7th time question asker.
Who does this guy think he is? How many questions do you think this guy can ask? How does he think he can just get away?
He did fly overseas to see us twice.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
You don't remember him? Okay.
Mark don't care.
He's what? Oh my God, Chris, I'm gonna murder you.
I'm making that happen.
Fark don't care. Next question is from Neil Carpenter. And we've said that one of you actually touched on this earlier. How did it feel when you realized you had dedicated fans around the world? Which is a weird feeling.
It's surreal, man.
Yeah. I think the first time that we ended up selling a record, not a record, one of our
Germany.
Albums, in Germany, I was like, who's heard of us in Germany?
Yeah,
this has got to be a mistake.
It's so odd.
It's a weird thing.
But it's a fantastic thing. I mean, going back on my life is shit theme, there are a few things that like make you feel good in life, and there is something pretty amazing about knowing that art that you have created is bringing somebody else joy anywhere, but then like thinking about it being halfway across the world, that someone again is enjoying the art that you made is a really incredible feeling, and really puts things in perspective and makes things seem like, yeah, this is great. There is a reason to do this.
It is a weird feeling. Yeah, because like when growing up and playing in like local bands and stuff, like usually your audience would consist of, like people that you knew, and you'd be like, oh yeah, I know that person. There's like 30 people at our show. I know each and every single one of their names. And then like somebody comes up to you after a show and you're like, I have no clue who this person is. And they're like, I just wanted to say how much I love your band. I came all the way from, wherever, Boston, Canada, Australia, wherever. And it's just like, wow, that's
United Kingdom.
Insane. Yep. I think we know somebody from the United Kingdom, but I'm not sure.
It's Richard Jenkinson.
Richard Jenkinson, that's right. Neil who?
Just go to the next question.
All right. Speaking of Neil who, Neil Carpenter asks, Neil Carpenter wants us to write our own epitaph in 10 words or less.
Neil. I don't have time for this.
To be fair, this is Neil's last question. I'm cutting him off after this.
Hey, I've got one.
Go ahead.
I told you I was sick. There you go.
All right, here's mine. He was kind of a jerk, but also kind of cool, I guess.
Wait, isn't that 11? He was kind of a jerk, but he was also kind of cool.
Okay.
It's like 13.
I've got one for Mike. He saved the world a lot.
Nice.
Buffy reference.
I got one for Mike. No, I got one for myself.
You decided it was too cool for me?
Yes. This is mine. You ready?
Do it.
How long does this turbo lift take anyway?
I thought maybe you were going to say, here lies David Noah Butler.
Well, like scratched out, like in the stone, David.
Etched out, yeah.
That's David Spade. I mean,
I like that. That's my favorite so far.
Nice.
The David Spade one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, I'm out.
Bye, George.
Did you see that I posted on Facebook this morning that picture from Vegas with the
I saw that.
The actress who walked in on Costanza after he'd been in the pool.
I saw
that. Melanie Smith.
Yeah, and remember we met her at
STLV.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, she actually reposted that as one of her memories on Instagram and tagged us in it.
No kidding?
Yeah, I think
that's really cool. I had no idea.
I messaged back and forth with her just for a little bit. She was asking what we were up to, and I was asking her what she was up to. She's been doing a lot of yoga.
Well, that was just so cool that she would like repost the picture, recreate that for it. I just thought I was so impressed by the fact that she got a kick out of that.
That's kind of going back on the having fans around the world. One thing that's just really, blows my mind as well is the people that we've met that are involved in the show that are fans of ours. Mm-hmm. That, there's nothing like having, Ira Bear call you on the phone and ask you if you can contribute some music for something. Just these people that admire what we're doing, they're supportive of us. So it's cool, not just because they are, it's unexpected, but they were part of the world that we are writing about. So it's just kind of cool. It's neat.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to actually be on like a first name basis with some of these people that are stars on the shows that we watch, like having Max Grodenchik call you to borrow the keyboard.
Yeah, right.
Andy, please tell me your keyboard hasn't left yet. Oh, thank God.
Next question.
Next question is from Tony Hutchinson on Facebook, and he asks, why should I not skip Voyager, Enterprise, and Discovery? Wow. Before watching Picard, once I finish DS9. That's a lot to unpack in that question.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so he's currently finishing up DS9 and wants to know why he should not skip Voyager, Enterprise, and Discovery before starting Picard.
Because there's no reason to?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to watch Picard first, I don't think there's any. I mean, it's not going to spoil anything, but definitely go back and watch the others.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, watch it in whatever order you like.
It might spoil a little bit of Voyager, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would argue that it spoils a little bit.
A little bit of Voyager.
Oh, yeah.
Not
okay.
a ton, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I would. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like the back half of Voyager. Okay, so I recant what I just said, and I'm going back and saying, watch Voyager first. Then you may proceed to Picard and watch Discovery at your leisure.
Yeah.
So I would, my argument here for watching all the shows is that even the worst Star Trek is still fairly good TV. I mean, it might be ridiculous and campy and unbelievably stupid, but it's still fun to watch.
Except for Night Terrors. There's nothing fun about
looking at you, Night Terrors.
Yep. I gotta agree with you guys on that one. You can skip Night Terrors. Oh yeah, you've already watched Night Terrors then, haven't you?
Oh yeah.
It's all uphill from here, right? Or is that the good way, the good thing? Or is it all downhill? Is that good? I don't know. It depends on your perspective, I guess.
It depends on how you feel about riding a bike up a hill.
Yeah, right.
All right, next question.
Perfect. Let's see. We know this person. Debbie Ranky asks.
Debbie!
Wait, who?
Debbie, stop it. What is your favorite meal to cook or eat?
Wow.
Yeah, this is like a first date kind of question.
I don't know. I love barbecue. I'll eat barbecue all day.
Just generic, whatever type of barbecue. Barbecued goat.
I do love ribs.
See,
barbecue ribs.
I do love ribs.
Oh man,
you just guzzling barbecue sauce.
Yeah, he'll just be squeezing a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's, just squeezing it down, drinking it.
You're going down the street and you pass one of those like little barbecue pit places, you know, or just the food trucks with. My mouth is watering now. I had a big dinner and I'm stuffed and I'm just thinking of barbecue and it's like blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
I love barbecue.
How about you, Patrick?
Ice cream?
We already covered the ice. How about paneer masala with a side of garlic naan?
Yeah.
From where?
From where?
Yeah, from where?
Oh, I don't know. Virtually any Indian place that's good.
Okay, I didn't know if you had a local favorite for that one or not.
Oh, I mean, I love Shalimar here in Broad Ripple.
Shalimar.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't had one that wasn't very good. So. True.
Mike, what about you?
I've been doing a lot of cooking since quarantine. I do most of the cooking in our house, and
opposite here.
Yeah, lately. Mostly because my daughter Ruby is obsessed with eating it. We've been having a lot of steak.
From Denny's?
No, it's not Denny's steak. I've been doing a lot of grilling out with with the kebabs and steaks and burgers and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean lately that's kind of the thing around my house, and that's the meals that I've been making.
What was it with you guys that I made the horrible decision to have a Bob Evans steak?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
That wasn't that on the way back from that Chicago show that Jim Morehouse was at?
It might have been. I don't
We
know.
stopped
I had
in
a steak
Lafayette.
at Bob Evans, and I have never.
Bob
regretted
Evans
anything
wouldn't
more.
have. Bob Evans wouldn't have been open when we were stopping by it, so it had to have been a Denny's or something.
No, it was a Bob Evans.
It was.
Whoever I was with, it was a Bob Evans, and it was just a.
I don't think that was us then.
It was fat and gristle on a plate. It was disgusting.
What was the place where Patrick had a mozzarella stick sandwich?
That was at Denny's.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the time
like
I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It was
That was hilarious.
the many adventures in eating that we've had.
I don't even remember that.
But do you remember New Orleans when we went there and Mike was slurping down the
Unfortunately, I do
oysters?
remember that.
Oh, the oysters. Oh, God.
that was gross.
Does anybody else have an answer for that question?
Well, I want clarification on that question. Is it your favorite meal to eat, or is it something that you have to cook inside your house?
He said
cook
eat
and-
or prepare.
Cook or
Oh.
eat.
Yeah.
Whichever.
So I can pick. It doesn't have to be one that I actually prepare myself in my
No.
house necessarily.
No.
I don't think that Patrick's making his own paneer tiki masala.
Right.
Actually, we have, but we do prefer to get it out
Yes,
when we can.
exactly. Yes,
It's the spices that you just can't quite get.
Right.
I've attempted those my favorite things, but they never turn out as good as the restaurants. But yeah, Indian food, any kind of Indian food is top of my list, and then probably sushi is next.
Yep.
Those are probably my
Sushi's
two.
great.
My two top. If I had to pick, those would be my two.
We
top
order
choices.
a lot of sushi on the nights that I don't cook.
Yeah, I do love sushi.
Yeah, we just ordered sushi the other night.
Do they make barbecue sushi?
Probably.
Yeah, they make every kind of sushi.
I know.
No, I'm going with Indian food too, and I'm
Yay.
always I can go for pizza any time of day or night.
Oh, yeah.
That's true. That is.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But a specific kind of pizza. What pizza?
Giordano's.
Lately I've been obsessed with a place here called King Dough. It's like they got this chewy, buttery crust. Oh my God. And it's like they can do it vegan, they can do vegetarian, they got all kinds of meat options, and it's like really fresh, great ingredients. They have a great bar inside, but we can't go into the bar now.
Where is this place? It's called King Dough. Where's it
King
located?
Dough. It's on the south. It's on Michigan Street, like before you get to like the highway. Like so
For those of you listening in the UK,
so yeah, close-ish to downtown. It's across the parking lot from another newer place called Rad Brewing, which has great beer. So it's nice because you can get your pizza from one place, get your beer from the other place, and then go take it to the parking lot and socially distance have a meal.
Yeah, that's
Kind of nice,
Yeah.
which is we've done multiple times. All right, moving on from Debbie's question there. Another person we know locally here, Madison Rachel Jones.
who?
Oh, this'll be a fun one. What type of dog would each member of the band be?
Well, I think we've established that Noah is a hairless Saint Bernard, right?
Yes. I like how that came back around.
He did come back around.
Wow, Patrick, what would you be?
What would I be?
Yeah.
You guys should tell me what I would be.
Corgi.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense.
I feel like Chris would be a Labrador.
Why?
Why?
I don't know.
Patrick, I mean, not because just because of the dogs that you've had. I feel like you'd be this tiny little, like a terrier or something.
I can get behind terrier. Yeah,
Some kind of a wiry terrier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can get behind wiry.
maybe a schnauzer.
Is this because I have a schnauzer now that you're saying?
Maybe.
Is there a type of dog that's obsessed with corgis?
That's right.
Other corgis?
I feel like I would be a golden retriever.
Why is that, Mike?
I don't know.
I'm just I don't know.
Wait, what's the laziest dog?
I'm gonna back
Basset Hound.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the most irreverent dog, Fark?
Irreverent?
Yeah.
Probably a golden retriever. I
What?
would say would be the most like
No. How about
stereotypical
poodle?
kind of
Fark's
dog.
a poodle.
I'm a
One of
poodle.
those giant poodles.
I think
Why would I be a poodle?
I think
Chihuahua.
Andy matches. He matches his own dog. I think Andy's a little. I think he's a little misunderstood. And
My pit bull?
yeah, I think you're in that that kind of misunderstood category of the looks scary, looks tough, looks,
How do I look scary?
But he's really a sweetheart when you get to know him. You're tall. Everybody's tall to me, and you're especially tall, so you're especially scary to me because I'm so little.
Because of the threat that I could eat your head.
Yeah.
I feel like if a Chihuahua could grow up to be 6'2", then that's what
6'3".
The Chihuahua?
Yeah.
A Chihuahua.
I have a Chihuahua, and I'm nothing like her.
Well, but you're a lot like Ren from Ren and Stimpy, so that's like
True. I do think a lot of people are idiots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a lot of problem with you.
You got a lot of anger issues, so it works itself out that way.
I go to therapy. It's good.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Got a lot of problems with you people.
You're gonna hear about them.
Oh, the police.
Damn it, Mike. Let's see. Ted Iverson asks, what series does each member prefer and why? I think Mike and I had definitely made our preference pretty vocal of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I've said Deep Space Nine too many times, and it's because it's awesome. It's just
good answers for three of us.
Yeah, I just think it's a great show.
Patrick, what about you?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Star Trek series, buddy. Come on.
It's really tough for me to pick, but I want to say TOS just because growing up with it and spending all this time with the ins and outs of the episodes and getting into the minute details of it, it's hard for me to pick something over it just because we've been doing so much with it creatively. I think after we're done with TOS, then I can pick a different one.
Then it'll be animated series.
If we go with that,
I'm convinced.
All right, Noah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go ahead and assume Noah's going to say the original series because that's the only one that he's watched.
That's not true.
It's not true.
Noah's making his way through Deep Space right now.
So
I forgot he was watching it.
Let me explain myself.
No explanation
to myself.
Yeah, I'm going to, no matter what, I'm going to probably say the original series because original series, like Patrick said, it is what I grew up on. It is what solidified my love for sci-fi and things like that.
Right.
And I love the camp of it. Like I love the bad camp of it. I love the good camp of it. I love that. The difference is like the camp of the 60s. I wasn't alive during the 60s. So like the camp is just this different far off foreign entity that's just wonderful and exotic. Right.
Well, we're disconnected from it because we didn't live through that.
We didn't live through it. But I lived through the late 80s, right? So the campiness in Star Trek, TNG, and like that doesn't, it's just painful for me. It's not campy and like, that's so funny and exact. It's just like, that's hideous. That's
80s.
Awful. It's just so late 80s. It just makes me want to cringe. So like, I can't forgive a lot of the bad in TNG. There's a lot of good in it. There's certainly a lot of good, but the bad I can't forgive like I can forgive in the original series. I have started to watch Deep Space Nine. Mike said, "Yeah, get through the first season." So I got through the first season. I think I had the flu and I watched it all in like a fever delirium, which is probably good. Mike said.
Yeah.
Second season, I was like, I kind of like some of these characters. And so Mike, when does it get really good? He's like, just, get to the third season. It's really good. All right. So I made it to the second season, got to the third season, got to the end of the third season. I'm like, it's kind of a lot of the same, Mike. Like when does it get good? He's like, fourth season, man, fourth season. Just wait till the fourth season. I got like halfway through the fourth season. And it's like, it's still the same. It's still, I like it. It's when does it get good? He's like, man, just make it to the fifth season, and it gets so good in the fifth season. And then I'm not there yet. So we'll see.
Well, because when starting in season 4, you start getting the whole like Dominion War arc.
That's what, but
just you wait, buddy. You wait.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for 4.5 seasons. So
now I've been waiting.
Just keep going, man. Next season.
That's what you okay. All right. Original series. That's my vote. Original series.
Next question.
Next one comes from James Butler Call. Were your wives or girlfriends interested in Trek before you met? And if not, are they now? And how did you get them into it?
Can I answer that first?
Noah, yes, go ahead.
Okay. No. And no.
Perfect.
Okay, there you go.
All right, mine. Kelsey was aware of Star Trek, and she had watched a little bit of it. And then when we got together, and she already knew I was in a Star Trek band, but we didn't ever really watch it together. But then I wound up getting her into Star Trek Discovery, and she loves Discovery. She loves Tilly. And we went through season 2 really, really fast as it premiered, and she was annoyed that season 3 wasn't already out. So now we get season 3 back in October 15th, and she is pretty happy about that. Chris, what about you? Was Jennifer into Star Trek, and is she now or no?
Jennifer was not into Star Trek, and I don't know that she'd really seen that much of it. Really, now she can pretty much take it or leave it. She's not really a big TV person anyway. She will sit on the couch with me while I watch something, and she'll kind of idly watch. And if it interests her, then she'll get into it. She's watched more of, like, she'll watch an occasional episode of some of the newer stuff with me. Every once in a while, she'll be like, say that, let's watch an original series episode just because of the camp value, and that's entertaining. But she's not, I mean, again, she can pretty much take it or leave it. So, but she's very supportive of me liking it and what I do at the band. So even though she's not super into it, she understands my love for it and is supportive that way. So,
yeah,
can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, that's true. Patrick, and I know Savannah was a fan of Star Trek before you guys got together, but
she grew up a huge Star Trek fan, and our first interaction, I think, ever was when I was heading in to perform our first year at Gen Con, and I kind of bumped into her in the hallway, and she said, "Nice uniform," and she had no idea. A friend was bringing her to see us play, but she had no idea she was going to see a Star Trek band. And
nice.
Right. That was the show where Chris forgot his uniform.
That was the
right.
show.
Yeah.
I had to wear a band T-shirt. That's right.
Wear a 5-year mission blue T-shirt.
So yeah, Savannah was a huge fan. She grew up with TNG and Voyager as her favorites, and bigger fan than me probably. And she's still a huge fan. So, and she loved the new stuff too. So. Yeah,
good.
Strength to strength.
Yeah. Mike, what about Ashley? Was Ashley into Star Trek before?
She knew of it. She had seen a few episodes or whatever. I think she saw one of the newer movies, but she was not really a fan. And then one day I came home from work, and she was about 4 episodes into the first disc of TOS. And then so she started watching, and that was like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And now she's made it through TOS, TNG. We watched, and I make sure she watches everything chronologically. So we watched like the movies and everything in the right order. And we're currently 5 seasons into Deep Space Nine and 2 seasons into Voyager, watching those simultaneously. And she's about, we watch usually a couple episodes a week. So eventually she's going to get through all of it. She has seen Discovery because, we did watch that. But I'm making her wait to watch Picard.
Really? Oh, because of the Voyager tie-ins and everything?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Makes sense.
So she's a pretty big fan now.
All right, we got one final question. I figure I'd save this one for last. This one comes from our friend Jason Bamberry of the Star Wars band, the Yavin 4, and
I'm for sure you'd skip this one.
Mike and I are actually doing the Motley Crue "Too Fast for Love" whole album with Jason Bamberry on vocals. That's going to be for Halloween this year. Fingers crossed that live show still actually happens. Anyway, his question is, whoever can answer this one, I think who gets the most groupies in the band? The answer is Chris.
What?
You're the handsome one.
I don't have any groupies though.
Yeah.
Groupies.
I think the question, who gets the most groupies, the answer is Jason.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
the question was phrased, if none of the guys in the band were married or had girlfriends, then who do you think would have the most groupies? Then sure, you can answer me if you want.
It'd be a cross between Chris and Noah, I think.
I would say Chris and Fark.
Yeah, I'd say Chris and Fark.
Andy's got that charisma.
Damn right, I have charisma. I'm oozing with
He is
charisma.
the funny man.
That's true.
I'm the comic relief. That's not actually funny.
Noah and I would just be standing in the back, hating them and drinking. We have officially launched the 5-Year Mission Patreon. On there, you can see posts with pictures and videos of behind-the-scenes shenanigans with the band and the podcast. There are different levels you can sign up for, where you'll get exclusive merch and videos and unreleased tracks and demos and other stuff from the band and the podcast that you wouldn't normally get if you didn't follow us on Patreon. The different tiers you get to choose from go from ensign all the way up to admiral, and one of the perks of being an admiral is that you get to be a producer on this podcast. This week's producers are Neil Carpenter, Debbie Rinke, Helen Lake, Carol Jones, Steve and Frankie Palopoli, Madison Rachel Jones, Becky and Roxy, and of course, Jim Morehouse. So head over to the 5-Year Mission Patreon right now and sign up as an admiral, and your name could be listed at the end of the next episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast. Just go to patreon.com/5-Year Mission. That's the number 5-Year Mission.
Fansets.com is your home for all things pop culture pin related. This month they have brand new releases from DC Comics, including Mary Marvel, Batman 66, and Our Man, including an all new Ultraman pin collection. From Star Trek, because of course that's the reason that brought you all here, the T'Pol Women of Trek character pin, as well as Kess. And also they revealed over on Twitter that they're working on a Hugh character pin from the Picard series. And as well, they also revealed a Disco com badge. That is Star Trek Discovery brand new com badge. Apparently that is not even in previews yet. They just happen to mention that it is with the art department right now. So apparently I'm going to be having to drop some more money over on fansets.com. You, however, will not have to spend nearly as much money if you type in the code 5-Year Mission. That is the number 5-Year Mission for 15% off your entire order at fansets.com on checkout. So get over there, fill up your cart, decorate yourself however you like, display them. They even sell displays for these pins. This is how wonderful of works of art these pins are. So head on over, spend some money, tell them 5-Year Mission sent you by using that 15% off discount code of 5, all caps, Year Mission. See you next time. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this episode of 5-Year Mission, the podcast, fan questions edition. Woo! Finally, that was a long episode.
Noah, can you give us some fan questions?
Fan.
There we go.
Yeah, you're supposed to do the other part.
No, we're the ones that just say
here.
fans. You say fan questions.
Yeah, try it again, Noah.
What? Wait, how's it work?
You sing the song. We say fans.
Right. I say fan. I just echo fans. I don't.
We say fan, and you do the fan questions. These
okay, but you guys didn't
from
say fans.
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 Fan questions.
All right, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to go to trekgeeks.com and check out all the other shows on the Trek Geeks network of podcasts. And hey, all 5 of us were here for an episode, so all 5 of us say goodbye at the same time, and it's going to be hilarious because it's going to be off on the count of 3. Everybody say goodbye. 1, 2,
Goodbye.
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 Perfect. No lag at all.
for listening to this episode of 5 Year Mission, the podcast. If any of you are interested in listening to more of our music, you can check us out on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or pretty much anywhere that you can listen to music. Just search for 5 Year Mission and we should be the first thing that comes up. If you would like to contact us in regards to the podcast or anything else that you want to talk to us about, you can email us at 5yearmissionband@gmail.com.
And for more information about the band, you can go to 5yearmission.net. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.